a little nutrition education today. My name's Melinda Gong.
My name is Andrew Bonrostro.
And I'm Alex Ramirez. I've been here a couple times. They recognize me. Oh yeah, I actually got a set for my birthday.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna work on learning how to make over our recipes. So we're doing a heart healthy recipe makeover challenge, if you want to make it a little more interesting. Okay, so but we're gonna start off with a game just to get it warm up a little bit, if that's okay. So we're gonna do a little mix and match game. All right. So let me explain what we're gonna do here. So we've got on the left, we have some potential like health issues that the foods on the right might kind of lead to. So we've got blood pressure, extra calories and sugar, LDL cholesterol, and saturated fat. And then we got the images of the food on the right: eggs, butter, salami, and chocolate whole milk. So I'm going to ask the crowd to let me know who thinks they know which ones match. You could pick one. So let's start with the eggs. Where do the eggs go?
Repeat what the audience says for Zoom.
Cholesterol. Okay, so the eggs go with LDL cholesterol. Oh, and look, we got two. So we got the answer to salami and blood pressure. Okay, then where's the butter go? Awesome. And then the milk goes to extra calories and sugar. Awesome. A+. That's all. I think we're done here. All right. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to the
Zoom? Yeah, Zoom always comes.
Do you think those food items could affect more than the one they
I
were
can't
assigned
get back to the because that's in my way.
Okay.
That's okay. Sorry, we have a follow-up once I get back to that. This isn't, oh, let me get rid of that. There we go. I had to just get rid of that bar. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so how do these food products affect heart disease? Like Debbie just asked, any quick ideas? We'll go over them a little bit one by one. All right, so like just quick reminders: the saturated fat can potentially lead to blockages in your vessels. The egg yolks in the also has saturated fat that can maybe cause your LDL cholesterol to go up. The salami, processed meats have extra sodium, which could affect blood pressure. And for the milk, if it's whole milk and extra saturated fat and the extra sugar, could lead to some extra weight gain, which could again make your heart have to work harder. So these are kind of how some of these foods could affect your heart health. But the thing that we're going to talk about today is, luckily, we've got lots of ideas of how to make quick and easy substitutions in your recipes to help with positive heart benefits, okay? Which is what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to hand out a quick worksheet or reference sheet. Okay, let me have one.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay, so Alex and Andrew are going to hand out this quick, easy substitution, plant-based substitution handout. And so what we really wanted to emphasize today is that small changes in your recipes can really lead to big heart healthy rewards. We don't have to completely go, make everything 100% brand new recipes. You can take some of your family like favorite recipes and make modifications with some simple substitutions. So we can kind of go through this real fast. And as I go through them, I would love for you guys, if anyone's tried them, to share your experiences with any of these substitutions. So for like eggs, you can use mashed fruit puree, you can use nut butter, you can use aquafaba again, which is the liquid from the can of chickpeas, which I know Debbie talked about a couple weeks ago. Ground flaxseed mixed with water, and silken tofu, which works really awesome as an egg substitute. And we also provided the equivalent of like how much of that ingredient would equal one egg. So to make it real simple to kind of work on making some substitutions out.
Okay, but that can sometimes be one of the challenges. Like we hear, oh, we'll just make substitutions, but like how much does the quantity for that substitution come out to? We might have some uncertainty. This is just a quick, simple handout that you can put on your fridge. A nice starting point, as Melinda stated, like the small changes. We don't want to be overwhelmed by making this huge transition, but it's just a nice guide and tool to make those transitions with those familiar recipes.
Then I won't necessarily go through any one by one, but does anybody see anything on here that they've tried before and enjoy or want to share their experience with the group? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I had a question.
Yes, please.
Maybe I should know this. I know the firm and extra firm. What's the silken?
Silken tofu is a tofu that's even softer, and you can find it on the different tofu boxes, and it's almost like a really puddingy thin consistency where you can't even pick it up. As soon as you pick it up, it like just kind of breaks up in your hand, and then when you blend it up, it makes a nice creamy kind of consistency. Yeah.
I assume it's in the same area.
Yes,
I've
exactly.
seen people make like chocolate puddings out of it
Mhm.
before, and they look really tasty, and it holds that shape of the container you put it in.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And there's even a sour cream recipe with the silken tofu. You can like take that tofu and you kind of drain the water off. You blend it up with some lemon juice and vinegar, and you've got yourself some sour cream. So yeah.
It's actually pretty nice.
Oh no. Tell us about your experience.
Tell us.
Well, do you have a different
Done pretty much all.
And that's the nastiest, or what is it?
The sour cream out of the tofu.
Out of the tofu, yeah. It's substantial.
Not the same?
It is, we're close. It's a cashew cream version. It's a lot nicer.
Okay.
With the egg, I've used, well, pumpkin puree.
What?
Yes.
It's got pumpkin.
Yeah.
And it's all over the place and. Rather than make
Yeah.
a pie.
Yeah.
There's so much pumpkin stuff out there right now.
Exactly.
Pumpkin cookies that the New York Times just happened to put out. And it worked.
Yeah.
Cheese is something you really will need to replace, and so you have to find what works in their commercial versions and online. People will offer their flavors, what taste is, it will give you clues.
Yep.
The tofu ricotta is a good fallback. I use that a lot.
Yep.
Plant-based milk, go for the soy rather than almond or the flax. Mainly because it uses the wisdom of the water. It's processed, it's got everything, and I can make that.
Right.
It's like making tea.
Right.
I didn't hear what you said. You go for the wet.
Soy milk.
I just didn't hear.
Plus it has more protein in it, although in
Exactly.
a baked recipe where the milk is included because of protein. It's better.
Mhm.
And as John stated, it's more sustainable as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
butter, the one place the flavor, the focus you can comment if you make the cashew sour cream, let it ferment.
Mhm.
You'll get a whisk of galactic acid that is part of your flavor. But basically, you sell out with puree.
Yeah.
It's not always a fast you want the butter.
Right. You want the flavor.
The ground meat, you have ground walnuts.
Ground walnuts for ground meat?
And you mix it with some of the other things, but you want a texture that will hold up. and
Yes.
straight, it's really.
So,
So you want flavor going with.
yeah. If anybody's ever tried the tofu for ground meat, you can bake it to dry it out. And then it makes into a nice meaty texture, and then it'll take any flavor. You like soak it in the flavor, marinate it, and you dry it out. Like caramelize a box grater, and it actually gives it a good like ground meat consistency. Yeah.
I would go with. Well, there's still it's.
Yeah.
Pretty well, you're gonna use
Yeah. Well,
or lentils.
lentils. So lentils is a meat substitute.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, John. It sounds like you
Yeah, the
basically have
full
tried
list.
most of these, which is amazing. I think it's really important for everyone to know that you can try one thing at a time. And take your time to figure out what works best for you and your taste buds, because everyone has very different taste buds. Everyone has different resources at home and different ingredients. So again, just start by keeping in mind there are substitutions we can make to just make our recipes a little more heart healthy. Awesome. All right, and with that,
All right, so everybody, I'm Andrew. So we're just gonna go over just a little example of making our typical mashed potatoes at home. So according to here, if you'd like me to read it out to you, I'll give you guys just a small amount of time to read it through the directions. It's just like a, just like a typical segue of how we make our own mashed potatoes at home. But as we've done earlier in the activity, are there any kinds of substitutes that you think caught your eye or that you'd be willing to substitute for here that are more plant-based or more plant-based friendly? Okay, good.
butter for the what?
Butter and heavy cream.
But-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you have any examples that you'd be willing to share? No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But yes, that's very good. Okay, no, yeah. What about you, John? Do you have anything you'd like to share?
I would drop the butter and the salt and the cream. I've thrown in, a bunch of cloves. I steam the potatoes. I don't boil them.
Okay,
I throw maybe 4 or 5 cloves of garlic and the potatoes to steam with the mashed them. You can throw cauliflower in the food too, because it's gonna be provided. And when they're all cooked, they will mash smooth, and then salt and pepper and maybe onion powder and something going on the side of it.
that's really good.
So
Thank you.
why steam the?
I was about to ask
I
that,
don't
yeah.
boil.
I always feel when I boil a potato, or especially when I chop them, that I'm pouring out stuff.
Oh, okay,
If I'm
yeah.
Steaming, I can stick it up, I know it's gonna be 20 minutes. And put it on the stove, got about this much water on the side, and let it steam while I'm doing stuff. And leave the peel on, and I like steaming it as a process. My mother boiled everything.
Okay,
It's like when you do green beans and the water turns green. Yeah.
Oh,
There's something
yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
That's
Good point. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And would any of you happen to have any examples now that the holidays are coming up? We're gonna have our favorite meals or comfort meals. Do you think you'd come up with any substitutions you can make, whether it be just one, maybe two that you think that would be easy to make? Or you'd be willing to try with other places you have here? And if you don't, it's okay. There's just a slide for the sec, but yes.
Yams instead of,
recipes.
what's the one with the mushrooms and the cream?
Oh, green bean casserole.
Yeah, no. But, that has mushrooms on top.
Marshmallows on top.
Marshmallows.
Oh, yes, you're right.
like a sweet potato casserole.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I would make
Candied
that.
yams.
Sweet. And they're baked.
Okay,
But that's a full, there's actually street vendors that sell sweet potatoes in Japan. So it's
Okay.
very cool food to eat. So it's a good substitute.
thank you.
Yams and with a lot of. Marshmallows.
Okay.
You got all that marshmallow and sugar on top. and all that.
Maybe substitute for nuts
Yeah.
or, and say like,
You can put nuts on top. of it.
Mhm. yeah.
Do you use butter in that recipe? Okay, just bake it straight
bake it
with the
straight, okay.
marshmallows.
You know?
We got a hand all the way over there.
Yeah,
So for like options and stuff like this is reading. And then pretty much the thing, how could you maybe substitute that out to like a traffic pretty much like.
Yeah, that's a really good question. You can use some vegetable broth to start with and saute, almost like make a little bit of your own cream of mushrooms. So take vegetable broth, saute mushrooms in there, and then put in some kind of a rice or some kind of a plant-based milk or cashew cream to make it thicken. And then you can put it all together and bake it.
We even today
Yeah.
have a plant-based gravy. You could make it like a mushroom flavored gravy for like a casserole, and then you could utilize, like you said, the veggie broth, limiting salt, and not using fat. And we even use our gravy we brought today is also gluten free if that's something that's a concern. But
Actually,
yeah.
if it's got soy sauce in it, it's not.
Oh, that's right. I'm
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Oh my goodness, the flour is, okay, so it is not.
It's not good, sorry.
But that would be a way to like, oh, how could I make this the cream of mushroom? It's almost like a gravy, so there's a lot of plant-based options for gravy. They vary, but that's a nice little place to start. If you can't find that.
and I'm sure you can all agree. I know from personal experience from cooking with my family or friends. Sometimes replacing multiple ingredients at a time can be overwhelming. And if you make something and you don't like it, you're not really gonna know what you like. So it's important to substitute one thing by one, whatever you think is easier to do. So, but yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, if you change like 5, 6.
Yeah, you're
ingredients,
not
you
gonna know
might
which
come
one you
out with
don't like.
something completely different.
And you're not sure exactly which one it was. Did anyone bring a recipe today to practice?
If you didn't, it's okay. We're just.
Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
All right, so as Andrew mentioned, making these substitutions with our environment and our loved ones, they might pose challenges and cause some emotions that go with that. Maybe some frustrations or just not feeling heard with what these choices you want to make for your health. And so what we've done today is given 3 scenarios that we're gonna ask you guys to read. We have them print out. I'll give one per table. And we'll break up into groups, 3 groups, and go over the scenario and then talk about how the scenario would make you feel in this situation. And then also come up with some roadblocks or barriers that within the scenario. And then we'll ask you guys to respond in groups to share. So I'll go, or if someone wants to read the first one out loud, they may. Any takers? Or I'll read it. Okay, so for scenario 1, you are planning the Thanksgiving menu for your family. You have many traditional recipes you cook for your family every year. Your menu typically consists of turkey, pork, sausage, stuffing, twice baked mashed potatoes with bacon and sour cream, and a turkey gravy. You want to make a more plant-based Thanksgiving, but do not know where to begin. So. I'm gonna hand this one. And then this is scenario 2. You have a family recipe for tamales that has been handed down for generations. The recipe uses lard for tamale dough and pork and cheese for the filling. You want to cook and eat foods that are heart healthy while enjoying your favorite foods. So just a reminder, we're talking about what these scenarios might make us feel in this situation, and also some barriers or roadblocks that may come within this scenario. And for scenario 3, you are thinking about avoiding red meat because you read that it can raise cholesterol. You live with your partner and they do most of the cooking. Your partner's favorite meal is hamburger and french fries. Go ahead and break out into groups and discuss those feelings and those barriers.
We'll give everybody like 5 minutes.
Yes, do 5 minutes. Oh, and feel free to write on the paper too.
Yep.
There's some pens. On the paper too.
They make a taco cheese. You just then it's already shredded. So let them do that. According to comprehensive. I have a recipe for probably cheese substitute. The best thing is, like they put me in second right now. Yeah. I already have to come over to speak. Taking more about the conversation about I'm down there and. One thing you saw on eyes. Got that one. Not everyone. Big smart restaurant. It's really good. Okay, so that's it. Let's see, well, hard and tough ones. So it's difficult. I wanted to find something. Maybe you would say that, you know, see the numbers. You feel like there would be more help if they knew that a loved one was family situations. That's where we change that. And I want
Like, we have the thought, then we have the point to decide, do I want to try this? That's what, you know, you don't want to eat much, and then we're
Yeah, I don't know. Here down mine.
like a Friday work, and not like. Yeah, we're gonna have to. Get it in the oven. Well, to make soy kernels.
Yeah.
Tastes like.
Butterball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have tried to sort when John gave them something else, but you know, I wanna be able to. And you create what I'm roast, right? So I would, you buy it, so I do soy sauce as like a mistake. Right, and at least for me, because I'm still learning, but I think if you learn to use soy sauce with regular people, marinate. That's actually. If you try your best to blend it with a whole meal, like. Obviously, it's another whole person to the original, like everything always works. So what I did. No, this is the way my mom would do it. Yeah. there's no vegetables there. There's no-
Like, you know, it's just like how the media is throwing up the picture and everything.
So we never really were sure what was going to capture. We're just showing there at the table.
I used to work for this guy that had barbecue restaurants. Every once in a while.
All right, well, they were gonna invite me back.
You know, so everybody's right now.
Yeah.
And then he goes. So the only way we could get the barbecue sauce. So, you know, people like everyone do it. You never tell everybody.
You don't really get it. You know, it's like- Oh, it's-
Yeah.
The Julia child.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of butter. I know.
Oh, yes, right, she would take us away, guys.
Okay, I think we should come back together and discuss it as a group.
I'm still,
Yeah.
complaining.
Oh, okay. We're gonna wrap it, we're gonna discuss it as a group now. I think we could have kept. Okay. Wanna discuss it?
Do you wanna do it as like just each of us or have the table speak? Okay.
I think so, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask for everyone's attention. So now we're gonna share what we've talked about for each scenario. Oh, you put it back to one, thank you. So we'll start with scenario one. And we're gonna discuss how might the scenario might make you feel in this situation, as well as potential roadblocks or barriers. And we came up with a lot of great topics and discussions for this scenario. And I'll let you guys go ahead. And I'll chime in if you'd like me to.
Okay, I'll do the show. Uh. There isn't a green vegetable in this scenario. There isn't a chutney in this scenario. There's no fun.
No fun.
You are fit before you clear the plate. You can make. If you follow this, you can make a substitute. For turkey. There are two really good recipes. We'll do that and they're not expensive. You can do that. The pork sausage for the stuffing. Really good replacement. And that like called Gimme Lean. That is more than adequate to do that. You can find bacon, fake bacon, or you can make fake bacon. And you can do a lighter sort of thing. All of those things you can. But in the end, why buy into that? Because when I had the heart attack, it was we had to stop. We had to rethink it. And so the thing that we came up with in the house was things that would never have been on the Thanksgiving menu. Roasted butternut squash, roasted Brussels sprouts, hated Brussels sprouts. Fried cranberries, roasted pecans, and maple syrup and balsamic vinegar dressing, and then a dessert. That was satisfying, flavorful, and spared us the agony of that. That doesn't taste like. That doesn't taste like. That's not what we used to have. They were not to be what we used to be.
Good.
So it sounds like it's almost very challenging to make these like one-to-one substitutions, like getting that exact Thanksgiving meal. And that we need to be more open to other dishes and just respectful of each other's taste preferences as well. That's what I got from you
If
guys.
you wanna blow somebody away, make Jamie Oliver's, shepherd's pie. With lentils and lots of.
Oh, I've done stuff like that, yeah.
And instead of having a nice smooth layer of mashed potatoes on top, you top the clots on and most of it, post them to one of the mashed potatoes. And go to a way to visually see that. Very, very good. Lots of
Thank you.
Awesome. All right,
All right, so what was our scenario 2 table? In the middle, right?
middle.
All right, and we were talking about our family tamale recipe and wanting to make it more heart healthy, I imagine. In this scenario, when bringing this to like a loved one or family, just discuss what you guys talked about, how it made you feel, or potential roadblocks.
Well, we were easily able to identify the two big items, lard and pork, the items we probably substitute. The challenge is, it's like grandma's secret recipe,
Yeah,
it's not gonna taste the same.
Yeah.
So people are not necessarily going to want to eat it.
yeah, and it's tied to like cultural as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And often, I have friends who are Mexican, and they say if their food isn't greasy and you don't like it, so the lard is really important
mhm,
part of the ingredients, so that's a big. Even though it come up with good substitutes, you know, that those things will bring down.
yeah, and for this activity, weren't really, I feel like I didn't give like the best instructions, like focusing too hard on like what we would substitute it with, just like if you were in this scenario, like what kind of feelings might arise and like stuff like that, but which you are answering, I just don't want you guys to put pressure to make all these substitutions from these scenarios. But it's very good. Anybody else?
We thought it would make sense, the simple version of it. The better nutritionally dish, wrong traditionally, we can try.
Oh, nice.
And so some people will be doing without it.
To create
Yeah,
exposure.
to try,
right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a really great,
Mhm.
try, just testing it out,
Right.
yeah,
Demo at
Yeah.
Thanksgiving,
for sure.
Christmas.
You also did mention that the kids were more, they were more
Kids
open
probably
to.
don't-
Yeah,
I know my friends that are my age, they will not.
No way.
yeah.
substituting the greasy.
Awesome.
All right.
And lastly, for scenario
back
3,
table.
our hamburger and french fry lover family members and wanting to cut out that red meat. What did you guys come up with?
First of all, I see major problems. with
There,
relationship. Therapy, yes. The only possible thing would be to institute something, a little bit at a time.
Mhm.
The plant-based person is doing all the cooking, which leaves the other person out in that field. And they may feel they don't want to try this stuff when it isn't satisfying. But if you introduce a little bit at a time, maybe they can gradually get to the point where they can accept it at least. They may not totally like it.
Yeah.
But at least accept it and, you know,
Definitely.
hopefully the relationship will
Yeah.
improve.
Is it here? I know John mentioned like the soy pearls. I don't know if you could make a hamburger patty. out of
You
it.
can?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like that would be a good middle ground
Yeah.
between like a bean burger and a hamburger,
Yeah.
but the taste preferences.
So, here you guys have that texturized vegetable protein.
Yep.
Would in this scenario, like, say you have 2 pounds to make hamburger meat, but what if you substitute 1 pound for the texturized vegetable protein? Is that like?
Like
gonna
mixing it
hold
in?
okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's start making exactly, like you're starting to make your changes, like, cause we don't have to go all or nothing in a sense of, because sometimes all the way is like a little, overwhelming, but make like what he was saying, make small introductions So take a pound of the texturized, take a pound of ground beef, and then maybe little by little more texturized, less meat, you
Or
know,
different
and
type of meat.
a different type of meat, ground turkey, and then definitely increase or introduce it and then lead to making your way to more plant-based as much as you can, you know? Yeah, exactly.
My sister-in-law was preaching. Sugar substitute. China,
Monk fruit?
Mumford. I was telling her about it. And, she went over the cover and opened it up and she brought out a half-used bag, big bag of it. She substituted it.
That's what we've heard too.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything.
And we actually came up with that in the back row too, just don't say anything. Exactly. Awesome.
Well, it sounds like you guys have great ideas about giving exposure to those family members or loved ones, or making those subtle changes, not looking at it in a black and white sense, that it's like a spectrum. And then within these scenarios, we could be tasting these foods or asking our loved ones to taste them, but I think another way to start a conversation about these goals is to learn about open-ended questions. Have you guys heard of open-ended questions? Yeah, okay, so like in the example of an open-ended question, like me asking you, have you heard of an open-ended question? That is a closed-ended question. So now I'm gonna ask you, what do you know about open-ended questions? If anyone would like to share. Go ahead.
It leaves room for like multiple interpretations. There's not like one right answer to it.
Correct, yeah. So you can't answer it with like yes, no, or whatever it's leading with. Yeah, exactly. You can extrapolate. Yep. Anybody else? Oh, I'm so sorry. So I'm talking about open-ended questions. So I did ask like, have you heard of an open-ended question? And that is actually a closed-ended question. And now I'm asking you, what do you know about open-ended questions? And Sammy, I've met Sammy, but she mentioned that it allows for an answer that's not yes or no, and that, you know, it gives someone more options to share their like, perspective and opinion, essentially. Yeah. And the best way I like to help people learn about those open-ended questions is to start with what or how, like kind of where I start, like just start with what or how and see where it takes you. And when we utilize these questions in these scenarios, it opens an opportunity for curiosity for both ends of the party. So we can hear those perspectives and be respectable of those opinions of someone who wants to eat, you know, meat-based or plant-based. And we have some examples I'll share with you guys. So here are some examples of some possible open-ended questions with respect to these scenarios. And one being, I'm interested in adding more plant-based foods in our meals to help my heart. I can really use your help. How do you feel about helping me? So it starts, that last question is, how can you help? And then it allows the person not to just either shut you down or agree to something. They have to sit there to think, how am I going to help my loved one with their goals, with their health goals? And then it starts a conversation. And then you can do it both ways. You can even teach them simple what, how, start with what or how, and see where it takes you. And I'll do two more examples. One being, can you tell me what concerns you have about eating less saturated fat or sodium? And that could be from the loved one. And then lastly, because I want to decrease all of our chances of worsening heart conditions, how should we try to eat a little less red meat? So like I said, it just elicits a conversation, it invites curiosity, and it's respectable. And I think it's a great starting point to have these conversations that might feel comfortable for these types of scenarios, as well as inviting food tastings. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up and then get to tasting food because
Oh, yeah, there's food.
we know that we can't come without food. So on the back side of your handout, we have just a quick little like worksheet just to get you thinking about what recipe do you want to try to make over. You can decide what recipe, you know, what recipe do I want to make over? come up with a challenge, because there's definitely going to be a challenge. What might I face when trying to make my recipe over, and what's a solution? And so you're just gonna kind of think about this and ideas. I know there's a potluck here on Friday. You know, you can kind of think of like, do I want to try to make over a recipe for the potluck on Friday? Or we have Thanksgiving next week. So is there a recipe that I want to work on for the holidays? And then you can rate it. So we got 5 blank stars. You can color in. Hopefully you give yourself 5 stars. You can color in how many stars that you rate your recipe. So go ahead and take a minute to do that while we go ahead and we're gonna prep our tasting over there. We made mashed potatoes, and we made it with we boiled the potatoes in vegetable broth for the flavor. And then Alex made vegan gravy that is with soy sauce, tahini, rice flour, and vegetable broth
And black pepper.
and black pepper, and then some roasted vegetables to have a little with chickpeas to
Yeah.
have a little mini Thanksgiving prep. So, well, you guys will work on your worksheet while we go ahead and get that ready. And when you're all done, you can come on over.
Feel free to share with your
And
neighbors.
yes, feel free to share.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.